One day in the car, we decide we want to try D&D. It was all our first times. Cool, we tried it, and it was fun. We learned a lot, and probably did a lot of things wrong, but we had a good time and it was all in good fun. It was a very positive experience. I guess DM's roommate saw us have fun and wanted to get involved too. And he wanted to DM. But this is where the trouble began. Now, all things considered, my friend was a pretty good DM. He made encounters interesting, even if he was just making up everything as he went along. One thing he did a very good job of was creating plot hooks that he can pull back onto later. He used the backstories we created in interesting ways. Specifically, he manipulated our stereotype of a bard in a really cool way. We were all lost in a forest with magic or whatever, and our bard found a little house with a woman inside. Expecting him to do bard things, he took the bait, and long story short, he ended up with a ghost lady following him that would shriek at him if he tried to do any more bard things. His plan was that this lady was a banshee. Eventually, something was going to trigger her to try to kill the bard. It was cool, it was neat, but then the roommate became the DM and we never got to see what he was planning. Of course, roommate didn't have nearly the finesse or tact to use this banshee in a meaningful way. I believe he was just told that the ghost lady haunting the bard was a banshee and that he was planning to spring it on us eventually. So naturally, the first thing roommate does in his first session is have the banshee attack us. Kind of lame, and arguably too difficult of a fight given how early in the game we were, but we did it and we killed her. She had a couple of items on her, and I believe this was how I attained a really nice magical item. A ring that allowed me to summon a water elemental. We discussed our loot distribution for a moment before we eventually decided that I should have the ring. And of course, this thing was way overpowered. But hey, I'm not complaining. I just got a fancy new toy, and apparently the DM isn't either, because he has his own unique way of balancing this item. Eventually, night falls, and with it, the necessity of sleep. For reasons unexplained, the entire party suffers torturous nightmares through the night. But that's not enough to satisfy this sadist of a DM. Apparently, my elemental manifests itself from my ring. And yeah, he basically had his way with me. And that concluded our session for the day. We never resumed that campaign, we never invited him to play D&D with us again, and we never hosted a session at his place ever again. To be quite frank, we didn't play the game for a couple months after that. It just totally killed our groove on the game. Most of us tried DMing at least once in the following campaigns, and there was a few of us that we agreed that shouldn't DM, but none of us were anywhere near as reprehensible as the roommate. I don't get that roommate. He was told to spring a monster upon them later and does it immediately. I feel like he really didn't know what he was doing, and I'm really not sure why he did what he did with the elemental, unless it was meant for the bard or something. But what do you guys think his reason was?